officially start the last day of group stages here at Esports World Cup, and we are once again starting on the classic of Erangel.
Back to Erangel we go, straightforward playing path with that, but again, just to reiterate, if playing paths are nice, usually the circles to follow will be just that much more brutal. It is Western skewed, so for the teams that like to go Lipovka, like to go Yasnaya, it's going to be a bit of a stretch as we see all 64 players here on our screens. 3 teams out early on, make that 4 as VP, BP team, E-Arena and T1 will jump out over Sosnovka, but as you can see, of course, as well, BP will stretch up towards Milta Power and should be there with no issues whatsoever.
Yeah, and one of the things to talk about with one of those teams that dropped out early on the plane is T1, so I had a chance to kind of catch up with them before the games today, and I asked them a question, you know. First of all, yesterday start, the first couple games was just not good. It was not good for T1, but they were able to adapt and adjust. And in the final 3 games, getting themselves at least 30 points, they were able to kind of put themselves in contention to not have to make that crazy jump into, you know, the low 60s. And so I asked them, you know, what was the adjustment made? And initially they said they were playing a little too fast, a little too loose, and that caused them issues. We saw them die in rotations, but they were able to kind of slow things down and start to play their game after they figured out the lobby. And so going into today, really their game plan is just to focus on what they're doing. And fortunately, the circle is going to give them just that opportunity. And for a team like Sonics, on the other hand, they can now, as the desk was saying, drop in Pachinki, right? They don't have to contest with 17, so now this could also help them feel more comfortable.
They get the drop spots they want, no doubt, and I mean, as you're saying, if there's a sprinkle of luck to be thrown in, just have Godspeed talk about your team and you get circles. I mean, that's phenomenal. Who are you going to go to next? Maybe we'll get some bribes after this one is over, as we might just end up seeing our first milli game here of Esports World Cup. Down to the south it goes. Initially, there is still a bit of space up towards the north, as we see Alo here running around, mortar in hand, of course, want to pack that up, get ready to rotate. And you know what? I know that you, of course, being an NA boy, you like those TSM boys. Could you maybe, for the sake of me, for the sake of all the viewers out there, take a minute or two, as long as, of course, no chaos ensues, and maybe talk a bit to me about TSM?
Where to start? So first of all, as we said, the core of this team has always been Purdy, Alo, and never mind. Okay, a little short fight.
Longsker died, he was alone.
Fortunately for Longsker, and that's a big kill to pick up. Longsker has been quite incredible for New Happy as of late, and just historically such a mechanically good player, but a very big pickup and a big loss for New Happy. But back to TSM, you know, that core has always been so solid. With Luke 12, you have Alo, and then Purdy. Purdy himself has gone through so many adaptations, and most importantly, he's evolved so much as a player, because he used to be a player that was much more, you know, of the mind. Mechanically, he wasn't necessarily the strongest player, but then in 2020, 2021, we really started to see him kind of step up as not only just an IGL, but also as a player starting to rack up a lot of good numbers, whether it was damage, whether it was kills. But then again, the addition of sparking is what I think is so great for this team. That injection of new blood and the fact that he is a mechanical genius has really propelled TSM. Yes, they didn't necessarily have a great performance at PGS3, but they immediately fixed that in PGS4, and what a day they had in the group stages here yesterday.
Exactly, 56 points. You see them on the top of this group's leaderboard. Currently set 8th overall. Of course, they still have 6 more games left to play, so I would be surprised if that 8th place doesn't become a number a little bit lower than that. Thank you so much for the breakdown, Godspeed. That was always nice to get some insights, as we see BP team on their first rotation of the day. Of course, already down on Millie Island. Don't have too far to go. But as you mentioned yesterday as well, yes, you get the circle center. Yes, the buffet is like up for grabs, but what do you commit to? You know you can't take everything. Like, what do you do with it? Where do you go? How do you opt to set up your split? For BP team, it seems like they have opted to go on the western side of the island. Makes sense based on where the first circle has sent us, but they have E-Arena coming in close and Expendables. I mean, really everyone starting to make their way across here.
Yeah, and for those teams that are rotating here to the island early, that is going to give them quite the nice boon to be able to set up, as you said. But, I mean, we have to mention it. Although it's not a very large chance at all, this always could pull north, which can and will cause chaos. But for the team set up like New Happy, like the Expendables, obviously Luna on the east side actually has a very good foothold in the circle to be able to take control, not necessarily of the bridge, but of the ridges around that main road that leads towards the West Coast Bridge. And so they're going to have a nice time as far as being able to conduct themselves how they want in this game. But for the teams that are coming in late, I mean, the bridge already, as you can see, Toby, is very stacked with teams. Sonic's, Twisted, and Gaming Gladiators.
I was just going to say, Sonic stopped down towards what we like to call Glass House on the western side of the road leading from the bridge. You can see this is where Shrimsy is currently positioned. They stopped to scout forward. Little do they know that there's actually space to maneuver over on the other side. But because they stopped, because they have their cars parked outside, that means the Twisted Minds are forced to stop in the exact same way. Gaming Gladiators now as well. So a bit of a traffic jam up on the way, or over on the western side of this island. You can see it here on your screen as well as Petrichor Road says, oh, traffic jams. Nah, we're carpooling. We'll just send it full speed through.
Leave it to us, the Americans, to cause the traffic jams.
Just add one more lane, guys. It solves everything.
But yes, the Sonics now with a very interesting setup, as you said, because it's causing so many teams behind them to get jammed up that is going to cause different rotational issues when the circle does eventually shift. And we actually see TSM and Tiamba fighting still at South George near Hospital.
But while this is going on, Luna Galaxy doing something very interesting right now. They realize that Expendables, or at least a team, is coming in nearby. You saw Haven up on the roof, take shots just out of midair. He is doing effectively puffer fishing, trying to look a lot bigger, a lot more scary than he maybe is as a solo player. But I think they call the bluff here. Expendables coming in with a kill already. They are not looking to shy away from a fight. And Luna Galaxy, honestly, in this situation and seeing as to how Kraken, I believe it was, rotated out of that position, the fact that they keep all four alive for what could have been a pretty good ambush by Expendables, I think they got to count that as a win.
Yeah, and for Luna Galaxy as well, they have a large mountain to climb as far as points go. So this was definitely the smart decision for them to pull off. But also, the Expendables, I really have been enjoying watching this team over the course of the year, and they have been so fun, especially in team fights. They're very well coordinated. Sometimes the rotations get them in trouble, but when it comes down to brass tacks and they're in a fight, they are absolutely lethal. And so they also have been playing with such confidence, even just to come in that position and start to push them away, as we now see Bestalock from BB. Quite the entanglement here with Petrichor.
Yep, Chewy still on the offside angle outside the building. Ixlif will be the first to fall, and that's a tough loss. As we know him, one of the best mechanical players in the game, not what you want to have fallen down early on. In the meantime, VP runs into Luna. That's elsewhere on the map, but let's stay with this one for a while. BB team trying to regroup, but look at your mini-map on the bottom right side. E-Arena is starting to look in this direction too.
Yeah, and Petrichor in a lot of trouble now as Ixlef has been flushed out. And meanwhile, the onslaught of utility here still will continue. And Phil first will find a grenade onto Summer. Now Petrichor down to just 2.
Solid shots coming through. As you said, Petrichor, just a duo left alive. Ming, Chewy, they might not be Ixlef, but believe me, they pack a lot of punch. Still, the two guys here, and with a shotgun in hand, well, one tap and you're done for. This can easily turn the tide of this fight. But do see Spiro trying to get back towards their teammates, but they too have to get through. What is this little kind of split of E-Arena players in between them?
And Tigger trying to bounce onto this opportunity to get some kills, but BB is leaving no prisoners. They have knocked multiple members of Petrichor. They took sights onto Tigger, got him down. That's another point. So a great start here for BB team as they're taking control of this very, very important compound.
Yep, and with Tigger down, that means the side angles are going to be open as well. Now they're going to push forward. Now there's space for the cavalry to arrive, and they will push Ming 4v1. My friend, shotgun in hand, what can you do?
I believe, Toby. A shotgun, especially at that range, even a pump, very quickly could deplete the numbers of any team, but BB team so far has been playing this quite calculated, and
Oh, the molly.
Yeah, he's already burning Ming in so much trouble. He will be able to recover. No, not even. Solid. The molly will take care of him. BB team with 5 very quick kills.
It's the smallest things, but they send Besto in on one side, they send a Doozy out on the other, lob a molly in from both sides. Believe me, these guys knows exactly how mollies spread inside buildings. They go, if I throw one there, you throw one here, we're going to effectively light the entire floor on fire. Yeah. There you go. Easy point. No reason to run into a shotgun, risk losing a player because of it. Very nice utility usage. 2 mollies for a kill. They'll take that any day of the week.
And the confidence they just built by getting rid of those 2 teams. Well, not necessarily E-Arena, but picking off a member of E-Arena who was trying to third party and then just taking control of that compound. That is going to be very dangerous. Because BB team, if you are on this field, is the last team you want to have confidence.
And I was a little worried initially actually seeing BB team up to go for that compound. Of course, it did have a split with players down in the crossroads towards the north, but it usually is that compound because it's not a top prio position on the western side of Millie. It's usually where teams coming in like the 2nd or 3rd wave opts to try and go scout, see if it's available. So for the teams that pick it first, like as their main pick off of having spawned on, or started, I should say, on Millie Island, I feel like BP team kind of asked to be pushed. Do you know what I mean? Like they wanted to fight in the early game, offered taking this position. But of course, I mean, fighting on their terms, fighting with a better starting position, because you would have to assume, taking that spot early on, that teams are going to come to you.
Sure, and the advantage of that compound early is giving yourself a foothold to at least rotate either west or east, right? Because it's so far south, it gives you a little bit of room, a little bit of space to move without necessarily running into another team so fast. But with that shift, we do still have a little bit of that northern side in at the West Bridge. We see Gaming Gladiators still holding that as VP now trying to make a mad dash, but they're going to be right above T1 at new compound.
We saw it before as Lunar Galaxy took out 2 of the Virtus Pro players. So EB, Lookarooks left alive to try and see what they can salvage off of this first game of the day.
VP, unfortunately, has just been running into so many issues, mainly just losing members early, Toby, and that's for a team that has so much potential. I mean, we saw in PGS3 that insane 19-kill game to almost qualify for the finals. If they just have at least 3 or 4 members up, they can basically perform miracles, but
if they get a 29-point game today, they might just be qualified, you know? That's what they're waiting for. They're saying, nah, guys, we'll come back in game 6. Don't worry.
Just want to make it exciting.
Don't worry. Just want to make it exciting for you. I hope that's not the case, because that's not the way you want to be playing.
Yeah, I always root for EB, no matter what.
Yeah, he is a nice guy.
No matter what team he's on, and the other boys on that team are also really nice, but Danawa Esports at Nonix now, the IGL superstar really for this team, just casually floating in right in between Tiamba and Expendables.
And you know what? I kind of like it. He goes to the one spot that no one can see him from. He's below the tree cover from the compound to the south, and he's above the tree cover from the compound to the north. So in an isolated position, he can scout on forward, and little does the rest of the people here know. They might have seen one parachute, but there's an entire Korean cavalry team coming in off the shore in just a moment. The rest of Danawa is coming in behind him, and it goes kind of back to what the Disc was talking about too, of how Inonix, having been in the IGL role, they're starting to flex out the kind of the roles, maybe play a little more without anyone being like the full-on IGL of the team. So it makes perfect sense to send a guy like Inonix up ahead, because he is arguably the best fragger on that team. So in case he has to take a fight, he's also the one most likely to stay alive.
And to bounce off of Martin's point as well, which I 100% agree with, yes, you should have one dedicated IGL. Oh, wait a second.
Whoa, turn around.
Deal now. Dangerously close here to Tiamba, and they're just actually going to take this fight.
Haven is coming in to say hello as well, hearing the shots here from a distance. Of course, Lunar Galaxy were here before, so they're well aware that Tiamba has pulled up, but now also aware, I should say, that Danawa has joined the party. I think for Danawa, I like the idea of what they did here. Leave Inonix, because he hadn't seen them move yet. Leave Inonix with an eye on the door, have Deal drive up close, see if there's any reaction. If no one opens that door, either there's a solo hiding with a shotgun or there's no one in there. They go up, they peek forward, they see movement, they assess very quickly, can we take a fight here or not? They realize it's a bad idea. Now they back off. Now they take maybe not the favorite position, but at least they have somewhere to call home.
Yeah, very wise decision. And as you said, maybe not the best position, but it's much better than being in a fight where you're getting third party as well, because Luna was just on the other side of that one as we now move to TSM here, who is in a very comfortable position for now, but this is very open, as you can see. And so once this starts to collapse, once all the other teams are maybe funneled into this area, TSM is going to be in quite a bit of trouble, actually.
I was going to say 3 guys behind deployable shields. If that's a comfortable position, then I don't want to know what an uncomfortable position is.
For now.
For now. I mean, they're in the center of the circle. We'll give them that. And as you're saying, for now, they're not being shot at. So I guess in terms of comfortability in a competitive
But you're right,
game
the
of
collapse
PUBG,
will cause
many
many issues for them if they're still sat in that position. And I don't really know if they're really going to go anywhere because of the fact that the circle has posted the way it is. But now that we see everyone, Twisted Minds as well, are somewhat comfortable.
I mean, Lou clearly
outside
not really
the circle.
Lou not busy looking at the monitors. You can see he was stood very still, but talking to his teammates, trying to figure out where they want to go. And speaking of where they want to go, Danawa still on the rotate. They didn't like the house that was available to them, which makes sense because now outside the circle. So where is our Korean current world champion team going to go? Maybe straight up towards the arena.
Well, the problem is they haven't been shot at, right? So they may be thinking, hey, this could be clean. This dip could be clear. Maybe we can play on this hill. The problem is on both sides of the hill, both the Expendables and now E-Arena are actually setting up, and they've definitely, Zizzy has heard that vehicle, so they might set up to pour over and take some shots here as Fortunately, though, for Danawa, there's only one member up there.
And I love the camera POV that we saw
And
right
he's gonna
there.
pull off.
It is a 2-1 split. Of course, they lost Taker very early in the game, and Stacey takes the time, realizes that the smarter play to make here is to just dip and get the hell out of there, and it makes perfect sense to me.
And speaking of the smart play, yeah, Twisted has realized that Gladiators are not going anywhere, and so they're actually going to opt to just take the ferry, which they should, because at this point, yes, they'll take a little bit of blue damage.
No, they had a boat. They had a spawn.
Oh, did they have a Okay.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure if that boat was taken. So, never mind. They'll just take the boat, which, again, is a very wise decision. And this is the problem, though, for TSM that we were talking about earlier. Sonic's now starting to engage.
Yep, from comfortable position to not very comfortable anymore. Deployable shields being taken down by the second as Sonics are starting to wrap up over the hilltop. They've been scouting the north, the shorelines for a long time, so they know that right off the bat, if they take this fight fast enough, no one's going to be able to come in third party. Issue is they did like what they saw over the hilltop. As soon as they crest towards that southern side, all of a sudden Day Trade, all of a sudden New Happy starts getting angles on them. And I mean, they're inside the circle technically still. They could swing to them. No reason to over-aggress and risk a game if you fight for a spot that by the next circle is going to be out.
But the most important thing you said was fast enough, right? Because
yes,
knowing that entire north side is going to be open, Sonics, if they did continue to engage, they needed to get rid of TSM as quickly as possible because of this. The teams that are going to be coming on the coast from the north side, like Twisted Minds or even Gaming Gladiators, knew Happy could make that rotation as well, and so they needed to get rid of them. They saw it wasn't going to happen. Plus, Day Trade was taking shots, so they smartly backed off.
In all fairness, this might be perfectly timed for Twisted Minds. The fact that they heard the shots up on the hillside, maybe saw the smokes bloom in the distance as well as they were sailing across from Ferry Pier. They are aware that there's a team up there and might actually even have seen them come back down the hillside on their approach. So from what could have been a situation where they have no chance of scouting anything, now they get over there and oh my lord, Twisted Minds. If you get that compound too,
they are.
That is, I mean,
for free.
If they opt to just YOLO up towards it, I suppose. We'll see if anyone else opts to contest them for it. If not, then that is a good rotation for a well-timed, good circle for a well-timed rotation.
And I like this split currently from Day Trade, but they are going to have to figure out if they want to consolidate fast because that is the only lower compound that's in, and with only one member there, there is the danger for him to get picked off. And TSM, it looks like they're in a great position now, but realistically, they are still very much in the open, and so that's going to cause them even more issues. As I said, more teams coming in. Meanwhile, Tiamba now starting to engage here with Luna Galaxy. Pow Pow will find an easy knock on Vinny.
No way he gets out of there alive. I like that he tried to isolate. You can see the smokes there, try to grant himself a bit more cover for the rotation, but he simply was not timing that one right. In the meantime, NH Esports trying to make their rotation too, and not timing it right either. Going straight through the barrier, really, of TSM and losing one because of it.
So now New Happy is also started to make their rotation in, but Day Trade very keen on that, and Belmoff is going to get a nice knock there onto Non, and that should be a finish, as this position is just heavenly for Day Trade. I mean, this is arguably the best position in this current circle. Luna now trying to also drive a member. Kraken just trying to drive in between. It catches Belmont's attention, so Non, like I said, will go down, but Kraken, where are you going to go?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say he's not long for this world. I think that car won't grant him the cover that he's going to need with all the off angles that these players have. Day Trade on one side. Yeah, I was going to say New Happy on the other, but it's not going to matter. Flash finds him as we keep our eyes here on Belmont for a second. Day Trader team, really the first team out of Thailand to make a name of Thailand.
Sure. In
this competitive scene, we'll break them down a bit more as the day goes on. Now we hop over to Sonics and Gaming Gladiator. Gaming Gladiator obviously sat on this side of the water with Sonics earlier, and now, having seen them push up on this compound and gotten a knock, they want to make a play.
With all 4 ups, though, that could be a very big fight deal, though. Oh, my goodness, what a spray from Purdy and Alo.
Oh,
no!
Hikari with the double run over. That deployable shield will block bullets, but not a full-speed Dasha.
Wow, just like that, both teams absolutely in shambles. Also, Tiamba has fallen. Someone in the distance to All Gamers Global. What is happening, Toby?
Complete and utter chaos ensues as 13 players are eliminated in the span of 5 seconds.
We blinked, and we lost so many teams. Sparking even still alive, the last one left, and Ming also even fell. Ming also fell in this shack, so Sparking will be lucky, I guess, to take that for now.
Somebody pressed the perch button, and a fourth of the people on the server just flat out died. In the meantime now, why stop fighting when we can continue? Up on the rooftop, we have one guy, that's going to be Alpha Cat trying to hold off. He's going to get the help of Ian to try and stay put through this one. Tanvu will go down to the nade. Glories trying to fend off as solo play. Lift alive for Expendables. Finds the first one, but it's going to be E-Arena from a distance to join in. Everyone fighting one another right now.
This might have been one of the most chaotic shifts because I don't think I've ever seen that many teams fall in that short of a time in comp. Like, yes, we see it in some rough circles, but I mean, that was absurd.
We were setting up for a nice fight with Gaming Gladiator and Sonics, and just like that, the only teams on the server not to fight were Gaming Gladiator and Sonics.
I mean, it looked like even Gaming Gladiators was going to engage on Twisted. So what happened? 3 of the members actually coasted off to the east there.
Now we continue the battle as E-Arena pulls up on Virtus Pro. I think they're aware of not only that Virtus Pro is here, but also that they're down to just 2 players alive. They haven't made their way on in, but now as I say that, Sissy vaults on forward, but it's down to very low HP off that nade.
Oh, it'd be in a lot of trouble now. Has to close that door. Nobody's home, and Jacob will find that. So just 1 member left of Virtus Pro. It's going to be Lucarux, and he's out. That is it, just like that. Zizzy might be able to recover. He should be able to recover both those members there. Sonic's now being bombarded by utility.
BB team is pulling up on this, though. They saw the battle from a distance. They saw the double knock coming through. Zizzy is on his own. He has not had time to get any of the reses up, and BB team will say thank you for the opportunity to come and fight a very, very wounded team.
And already 6 kills as they're starting to breach this building. Zizzy with a quick knock. Really no time to recover his team whatsoever. He's going to try to make it out of here. Toby, he just needs to get maybe 1 more knock. He's going to find it. That's a start.
Goes for the flush. Just try to see if he can get him down in time. Not going to find it, I think. Does Pistol lock it up? No, not going to happen. So 1 point awarded to Sissy. Valiant effort in trying to stay alive through it. Found 2 knocks, and maybe there's a pull-up to be had here. I just don't think anyone has it in them to try and pull up on a compound on the eastern side of the circle. We have cleared the entire east.
Yeah, the only team realistically would be AGG, and they're currently sat just underneath day trade, so I doubt they're going to make that happen. Meanwhile, you did see their Twisted Minds starting to pick apart or try to get a few knocks going for themselves against the Sonics, as the Gladiators now trying to find a foothold into the circle, and they could play this dip for now, but it's still very dangerous. They're just going to coast right through.
You might just want to stop right here. I was just going to say, I mean, they know for a fact, like the rest of us, that the East just lit on fire.
What
There's
East?
Definitely, I mean, this is insane. Phase 5, 23 alive. It was looking to be a pretty calculable game of like military island PUBG, but very quickly spun on a dime and went full chaos mode. And now Sonics, I mean, 1 kill. Honestly, I don't think they minded. They know for a fact they're going to be coming into these fights against a set of teams who, like, for the majority, are extremely wounded. So we'll see. We'll see how this one is going to pan on out as now. Twisted Minds as well. We took it angles over towards day trade.
23 alive going into phase 6 seems so low, right? I mean, again, the chaos that has happened on this melee circle. This might be one of the fastest melee circles we've ever seen. Now GG sat dead center of this circle, which you would think is great, but again, there's someone in a bowl sitting on a shelf that everyone else will be able to see is Perfectix now. Looking for some damage here onto Kickstart, trying to hold his own and make sure that Twisted can't necessarily make this push.
I love this smoke. It's just 1 smoke, but it separates the remaining 3 players. So now they can take a 2v1 fight against Kickstart. He's isolated to play behind the vehicle. Very smart utility users. Use 1 smoke, block off the majority of a team, take a fight in your favor. Had they done it without, it would have been a 1v3 peak that he could not necessarily have come out on top of. So very smart playing. As Kickstart hears the tires of his vehicle blow out, he needs his teammates to help him out.
And the one caveat here is that Sonics don't have to contend with any other team, so they can shift entirely their focus to Twisted. Yes, you have Sparking in that shack, but he's not going to necessarily come out until he sees some knocks being traded out. Perfectix just desperately trying to get rid of Kickstart, but he's doing a good job of evading any damage. That car, though, not so much as Batulin will finally find the nade on the kick.
Not so much you can do about that one in time. He would fall. It's going to be seen in the open. Going to get flushed out by Batulins as well. As Sonics go down to 3 left alive. They're all still outside the circle here, so it makes sense that they're setting up this fight. But again, I mean, it's so limited what you can really do with this ridge line. Neither of the teams wanting to fully commit because they know if the other team gets to just sit back and wait this one out, we are going to be at a disadvantage. You don't want to be the aggressor here. You want to be the ones just sitting back, waiting for the opponents to come to you.
And you can see you can see that Day Trade is just licking their lips, waiting for one of these knocks to come through so they can finally third party. The circle is starting to close. It is pushing Twisted closer and closer towards Sonics.
One nade.
One nade could change it, yes. But they have to know.
They definitely do. The smokes are going to fade in just a moment. I think they're running out of utility altogether on the side of Twisted Minds. Now they're going to run on forward. H-Win up front is going to see effect in just a second. Tiggleton is going to be the one to take him down. Example for the Sparking. Peeks out as well. Sparking finds the second player. They were so focused on one another so that when the TSM player came out from behind, he takes down two.
And they lost track of that shack, which is exactly how Sparking was able to come in. So North America helping North America just a little bit. TSM finding that break, that helping hand. Now Batulin's just behind this rock. Is H1 gonna find it? And yes, Twisted Minds will fall.
What a timing from Sparking to peek on out, get two knocks, now almost take out a player in the open from Day Trade as well. 7 teams left alive. Sparking left as a solo player, but doing everything he can to get more points for TSM.
And even if he falls, they've already done a good job getting towards placement points, but also getting 4 kills as he goes down. But Day Trade now finally activated.
Yep, BB team in the meantime trying to get rid of Sir T, the last remaining player from All Gamers Global. They had a tough time with this circle shift. They wanted to wrap Northwest. Day Trade did a phenomenal job at denying them any sort of approach, so they're kind of forced to take the fight to BB team, and now it's just Sir T left alive.
So BB team want to make sure that they wrap this up as quickly as possible, start making their rotation in towards Game and Gladiators. As you said, one of the only teams now in the circle somewhat comfortable is a doozy going into the building, and Sir T has actually been very annoying for BB.
Yeah, able to stay alive for quite a while now, starting to rack up some placement points too. Can't count out Ian either. He's been a solo for a long, long time, but in placement points here as well.
And that nade, if it was cooked correctly, no, could have caused a little bit of a disaster here. Another bit of a shift, and still doing a significant amount of damage here. Finally, they will take care of him. 10 kills on the side of BB. We saw them start on the southern compound, and now they're just compounding their kills and moving forward. At least 3 members still alive.
Very, very solid start to the day here for BB team. They started off well yesterday too, a 3rd place into a 2nd, but the kills quite weren't there to kick things off. Here though, quite the other story, from fighting in the very beginning of the game to now in full control on the eastern side. I mean, for Day Trade here, such a, for Sonic, such a tricky position to try and get out of. They have smokes to move, but everyone really is looking your direction.
So they should be able to recover Tig here, but again, being put on the back foot, Day Trade is just relentless here, and their sights are focused. No, they don't even get Tig up. And so more damage is going through. Sonic's in a lot of trouble here, and they have to be running out of smokes as well.
I was going to say, once that smoke is gone, they should be gone with it. We'll see Shrimsy H-Win. Can you maybe get a knock and flush a single point to help what has not been the best of games thus far? In the meantime, Gaming Gladiators, they were safe in the dip for a while. But at some point, everyone's going to come to you, and this is exactly what happened here. They will fall in 4th place. Sonics, at least for now, staying alive and able to get some more placement points.
And so clean from BB team, but now they're going to have to contend with Day Trade, who has realized the fight underneath them to the east has concluded, and so this is their opportunity. 4 members still alive, and 10 kills on the side of Day Trade versus the 13 of BB team.
Incredibly solid play coming through here from Day Trade again. We'll see if they can make something of it, win the game as it comes to it. Doozy finds one, Norens instantly there to trade. It's a 3v2 in favor of Day Trade as they get the flush on 1.
Now looking to close this one out. Belmoth has to be careful though, as these 2 members, especially Phil First and Spyro, can turn this one around in an instant.
Definitely can. They definitely can. This smoke is all that's keeping Norens and Sparrow from one another right now. An underhand nade returned by an underhand flash. Forced to back off. I don't think there's any reses coming in. They know for a fact this will be a 2v2 all the way to the end.
Norens. This grenade could mean everything. Now it's down to a 1-on-2. Day Trade with the advantage. Phil First trying to get as many points as he can. He realizes the situation.
No vest to work with for Phil First. Does he manage to bring this one home? I think if you're Belmoth and Norwich, you group up, you swing together, and this is exactly what they're setting up for. They want to sweep the side. They want to double peek it. Spiro's going to try and feed in for a crossbow as long as he can, but they will deny him that, taking him down. Now let's see if Phil First from the other side has anything to do. He heard the shots. He knows exactly where they're going to be coming from, but with every second they don't make a move that could potentially be Phil First second-guessing himself. He's going to continue creeping on forward, and Belmoth and Norens ain't budging. They're holding the angle. They're waiting for this one as we go back over the hilltop. Phil First sat still, looking forward. Noren's full level 3 gear, barely taking any damage. Sees the flash come forward. It's not going to fully block him. It's going to peek on forward.
Oh!
Phil first, able to find the first. Now it's up to Belmoth. Phil first is only down to half HP. It could still very easily go his way. Belmoth, do you have it in you to bring home what would be a 13-kill chicken dinner?
Another flash coming
Sun
through.
forward. Damage on both sides.
Here we go, Belmoth now, another flash coming through. Phil first has turned this into a one-on-one, somehow Toby. And now you can see Noren's trying to go forward, just finding the information. They're not going to get that res through. And even using maybe Noren's as bait, he's going to see it, and there it is. The spray will come through. Day Trade with an explosive start.
Absolutely phenomenal ability in Day Trade to just slow down the pace.
Yes.
Chaos ensued. They brawled back and forth. Knocks came through on both sides. But when Norens and Belmoth were left to 2, we go, bro, stop. Stop moving. We need to play this one smart. So many small things in the end of this one too. Not just crawling forward and using your teammate as bait, but dropping the level 3 helmet to your teammate that didn't have a helmet at all. These things, the fact that they can think of doing these things in an incredibly hectic 2v1 is incredibly impressive.
And I love that the fight at the end came between the two